September 29th, 2021. I did that. I went to NYPD this morning to report the sulfur dioxide. And my eyes absolutely just tearing after the rain yesterday. They said FDNY, so I went to the firehouse at Fire Station down this block, right by Monahan's. When I look at Steam Fitters Union, I mean, FDNY is 4 letters for city services. But then I look on the metal grate where the sulfur dioxide's coming from, and it's FDY, no N. So is that naval services? I mean, at God level, I'm just curious. Because it says here, Campbell, CAMPBELL. Is that Andy Warhol level? I'm just curious. Goddess Nix NYX wants to know. Here, this is what it says. It says Campbell, FDNY, Company, Harrison, New Jersey. So it says Harrison and then it says NJ. But it's FDY Company. And it's not this particular grate that has the sulfur smell because it's an empty one. But I have the name on several of the street grates for that noxious smell. And I'm having trouble breathing as well, like catching a deep breath. So I'm going to pause this till I get to the other street. Alright, this right here, that used to be Carvel ice cream store. And the one in front of that store says Made in India, INDIA. But the grate, and that's the one I normally smell the sulfur dioxide coming out of. I'll go check to see the one in front of Bell Plaza. Today's September 29th, 2021. I'm in Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361. And I'm trying to think of the other relevant point. Star 1978, Star 8378, Nicole Catarusa. So I told FDNY, the fire person, and he's like, I'm like, do you have like a Geiger counter, like anything radiological? He's like, no. He's like, there's a HAZMAT like unit. I'm like, great, okay, so could you call them and ask them if like they could set up an inspection of our area? He's like, no. He's like, no. And I'm like, well, I can't. They don't take phone calls from just civilians. Kind of need one of you guys involved. And he's like, well, I have no reason to suspect. And I'm like, listen to me. I was like, there's stuff that falls from the sky all the time. I was like, and there's hair loss. That's a radiological anomaly. Like, hair doesn't just fall out. Usually it's radiological, like fallout, that causes the hair to fall out. That's what they report in the human medic books. I was like, so for my point, there's OMICRONs and there's gammas and photon that come from the sky, which is called, you guys call it UV rays. I mean, you've heard of that? He goes, yeah. I was like, you ever seen a bald guy? He's like, yeah. I said, how about a lady with her hair falling out? Because that seems to be prevalent around here as well. Like thinning of the hair, because that's not a normal biological function. It just seems to be prevalent in this area, indicative of high amounts of radiation coming from somewhere, or high amounts of toxicity or chemicals. I was like, do you think that that's enough of a point that maybe you can make a phone call to somewhere in your powerhouse of FDNY? And he's like, no. And I'm like, wow. There was a dark blue, looked like Channel 7 helicopter that flew overhead as I was headed to FDNY just earlier. I'm now walking over to Bell Plaza, which is right there. That's what Bell Plaza looks like, with their radiological antennas on top. On this side of the street, it says on the sewer grate, Co.Fdy Company, and Harrison NJ. I'm going to pause this till I get across the street because I'm running out of memory. There's some kind of battery in the street. And on this side, where I actually smelt it, it looks like an 1800s sewer grate. It has no insignia or lettering or symbols of any kind. So, again, it's September 29th, 2021. But the signs in the environment and my biological reaction is quite concerning. On this corner, they added another sewer grate. Bell Plaza's still right there. And it says Campbell Foundry Company. And then Harrison NJ. So this was added, it looks like, later. And in the street it has this metal. It says General Foundries RSI, New York City Sewer, and then made in Daya again. And then this is what the gas cap looks like for fights over scary stuff. And then there's a Con Edison, and look, there's Con Edison truck over there, and there. It says Q8 and Con Edison, and then it says WSNY as well, right here. And that's all the metallurgy on this one section, since none of the metal seems to be consistent. Even on my stretch of Main Street, they've been changed, and there's so many conflicting symbols and companies and foundries. It's really scary what's going on just by the metal in the street alone. If you're cognizant enough or awake enough in sleeper cells to even do an inquiry in order to report it to a higher authority that you don't even know what to call it. Star 1978, star 8378. I'm just gonna go with Albania on this one, since that's where Grandpa was comfortable, in a contra to Grecia, Grecia.